What's up, good people? It's your boy Leroy McKenzie Jr. And this is I know y'all used to seeing me over on my own stuff, but this is actually one of my partners line, and that's Miss Lady J. And y'all know what it is. This is about what's up, Baltimore. What's up, Baltimore? Can y'all see that? Can y'all see that? That is just the color on that is just phenomenal. I was just like, wow. I don't know if you can see that. Y'all gonna meet her in a minute. I don't know if you can see that, Joan. Can you see that? How vibrant that looks? I don't know if you can see the whole thing. It is just so
Yes.
colorful. It is very colorful and just pops out at you. But this is the new issue of What's Up Baltimore magazine, and we are here to talk with you, to talk with this young lady here that I'm gonna introduce to you all in a second, and I'm gonna let her introduce herself too, and then we're just gonna have a little conversation, a slight conversation, just about her, the great things that she's doing in the Baltimore area. The multiple, she corrected me last time, so I'm gonna get it right this time. The multiple streams of income that she that she has, and just the great things that she's doing in and around the community and for the community. So I want to introduce to those of you that may not know who she is, but you'll know her absolutely after we finish our conversation, and that's none other than Dr. Joan Henry-Fields, and I am so proud and just honored to be able to call her friend, because she and I have known each other for, we known each other what, 2 days now. You know, it's been a couple days. It's been a couple days now.
It's been a couple of days.
That we've known each other, and it has been awesome to see her and how what she, just the great things that she's done, growing her business into multiple businesses that she has, and just some phenomenal stuff that she's doing in the community. And we're so glad to have her be a part of and be in the current issue of What's Up Baltimore. So I'm much appreciative of her. So Joan, I want to just, let's start off by just having you introduce yourself to the people and tell them a little bit about you, and then we'll talk a little bit about, we'll go into the businesses, and what you know, kind of first what you have here in the magazine, and then we'll talk about the avenues that you have as well.
Okay. Hey. What's up, Baltimore? So, yes, as Leroy pointed out, my name is Dr. Joan Henry-Fields. I am originally from the beautiful island of Jamaica. You know, I got to start everything with that, right? So,
Absolutely.
let me see. So, what do you want me to talk about, Leroy? What first do you want me to talk about?
No, just to give them a little bit of your background. I know you said you're from Jamaica. If you can just talk a little bit about that, and then your initial business start, how you became an entrepreneur, how you became and started to become an entrepreneur. We'll start there.
Okay.
Okay.
So, my entrepreneurial journey began, I want to say, in 2008 after graduating from Howard University School of Social Work, because that's when I that's when I created a platform for women, you know, to have that multiple streams of income. Okay. So yes, because it was like right during the recession, I was graduating, and everything was just out of this world crazy. And I know that back then people were losing their homes, you know, left, right, and center, because, you know, they couldn't afford it. And then at the time, the statistics show that if people were making an extra $200 a month, they would have been able to keep their homes. Now, for me, I'm all things women. I'm a big on women advocacy. So I decided to create a platform so that women can, you know, secure that extra stream of income, because we know that, and if we didn't know then, we sure do know now, that even that good old government job is not that secure, you know, for multiple reasons, including our current situation we're dealing with, the pandemic. So having an extra stream of income is not a bad idea. And I've also founded an organization that connects women and girls to domestic violence services that I will talk about. But as far as the entrepreneurship piece, there were studies at the time that showed that most women return to their abusers because they cannot handle their themselves financially. So they feel like they had to stay in that abusive relationship because they couldn't, you know, handle their own. So I said, well, and after going through a social work program, it's like you are changed forever because you've seen, you've read, you've heard some things that, just put a different perspective on life. So that's how I officially started entrepreneurship in the US. But if we were to go back in Jamaica from where I'm from, I just didn't know that that's what it was called. Because my grandmother, she used to go to the market, purchase stuff and sell her goods and all that stuff. And as the oldest grandchild, I was responsible for helping her, including collecting her money from her customers and delivering stuff. So my entrepreneurial journey kind of started way back. I just didn't know that's what it was called. But, fast forward to America. So that's how I got started into business, right? And as far as school, I have a bachelor's degree in human services from the Audrey Cohen College in Manhattan, New York, a master's in social work from Howard University, and a doctorate in business administration with an emphasis on entrepreneurship from Grand Canyon University. So that's kind of it. So as far as my companies, I briefly mentioned my nonprofit. That's called RISA Incorporated. And again, RISA connects women and girls to an array of services, including domestic violence services, homelessness services, and all the other much needed services. As a matter of fact, we're getting ready to host a community day at the First Baptist of Capitol Heights, where we're going to be able to just, be there for the community at large, not any specific population, but just a community at large. So I'm super excited about that. Then we have the annual Women's Expo, which is where everything started. I've been doing that for this is going to be year number 13. And I bring together the community where I have speakers, vendors, attendees. And, these speakers are, from different business backgrounds where they teach the women attending the seminar how to start and grow their businesses. So as far as the Women's Entrepreneur Expo, then the Out in the Fields LLC, my newest company. Yay! Move over to the other side. Yeah, yes. So Out in the Fields LLC, we offer real estate consulting services. Okay, so it's property management. We clean pre-sale and pre-rental properties. We do wholesaling. And of course, our new service that we just add to it, it's the blue light cleaning. And then we have the sister company for Out in the Fields that is called JH Financial Services. And that is the one that is all things financial. Now that one, it takes care of your financial well-being. Anything, I help women and girls with goal setting, setting their financial goals, debt management, and possibly debt elimination, budgeting, spending, savings. And of course, there are always workshops and conferences that would speak to these services as well. In addition to those services, I've added a loan piece where my company now offers loan for people looking to start or expand their business. And of course, there's a credit repair piece where we can get your credit in tip-top shape, Leroy, because, people, almost everything these days depend on our credit. If you're for certain jobs, they check your credit. If you're going to purchase a house, they check your credit. To buy, lease, or rent a car, they check your credit. So we want to make sure that my goal for my company is to make sure that when you call these folks up at these places, you go to their establishment and you try to get a car, you try to get a house, whatever it is that your heart desire, that you are in tip-top shape to make that happen. Because, I'm sitting here thinking like, man, I just graduated from school with a PhD. How sad would that be for me to look for a job and get turned down because of my credit? Oh my goodness, that would be awful. So we don't want to, and again, they do check your credit for certain jobs. So we don't ever want to be in that situation. So credit is definitely an important piece of, what I do with my company, and it's an important piece of everyone's life. Everything that we do, our credit depends on it. So that's pretty much what I do in a nutshell, Leroy.
And just to piggyback off of what you were talking about, as far as the credit is concerned and how important that is, but we're in going through this pandemic, people have been hit because they've lost, they've lost their jobs, or they're not at full, let's say their full amount of hours. So their people's credit has taken a hit during this time. So it's important that people understand how to be able to repair it, how to be able to get it back to where it once was, and everything like that. I know that the economy is starting to pull back out of, out of the recession that we were in during this pandemic, because things are starting to open back up again right now. So hopefully, people's jobs will start to come back as well. And as a result of that, like you said, Joan, people have to be able to understand how to go about being financially literate, and understand, hey, yes, we had this hiccup, which was the pandemic right now, but here are places such as your company that will be able to assist individuals and businesses to be able to get back, get their credit back restored to where they can be, where they're able to use it to be able to gain and do what it is that they want to do and need to do, whether it's personal or whether it's business financially, and everything like that. So I think that that's great that you offer a number of things. Now I want you to talk a little bit about this,
But
because
you
I know that
no,
go ahead,
okay. So
sir.
no, I was just gonna add to what you were saying before we move on to the next point that,
Uh-huh.
as part of financial literacy, learn, for those who try to invest into learning, financial literacy, they would have learned also that your credit didn't have to get that bad because you have lost your job, because there were programs you can work out agreements with folks like, okay,
Right.
put me on this payment plan, or deferment, or whatever the case may be. But if we're not financially knowledgeable to know that we can actually ask for that kind of help, when these things come up, then we just let our credit fall by the wayside. Life just fall by the wayside. But we have to tap into these sources, because I may be here talking about credit, but I promise you, I'm not the only person. There are many people out there with credit information. So the goal is to get that information so you can be knowledgeable of the resources that are available to you, including calling up whoever it is, the creditor. Look, can I skip this month? Can I double up next time? I only have $100 to pay. There are always little ways to work things out, but we have to learn the process and open up our mouth and ask, because like my grandmother normally said, closed mouth don't get fed. You gotta open your mouth and ask for stuff. So it's just being knowledgeable of what's available to you, and all that is a part of the financial literacy piece, which, by the way, I'm trying to change that word in my own way. I'm trying to move away from financial literacy and to now say financial empowerment. It
It
just
is.
it
I
just
like that.
feels different, financial
Yeah.
empowerment.
That's a yeah.
So yeah,
That has a different. Definitely has a different feel to it.
yes,
You
sure
know.
enough, yes.
But that's you though, Joan, because you're always thinking of mindset and the way that people think about things, and how we think of things, and how our mindset determines kind of how we deal with things. It's not about situations that we have to deal with. It's how you actually deal with those situations. How you your mind frame in dealing
And
with the situations that come up for you.
yeah, because you say financial literacy to certain people, they may think that you're insulting them, depending on the culture or the person. You said
Right.
financial literacy, they take it to mean that you're saying that they're illiterate. So
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
kind of good to stay away from that word. So I'm adopting the new, financial empowerment. That's what it's going to be for me.
I
Yes.
like that. Now I want you to talk a little bit about this, because your emphasis is on women entrepreneurs. And you mentioned a little bit about, you didn't say it the whole thing, but the we, what your we is. Talk about. I want you to talk about your experiences with working with women to be entrepreneurs, and then the significance of that, especially in this 21st century, and the way that we see women, and that we do business, and that women do business in this 21st century.
You know what? when it comes to women, we are some beasts. And I could tell you that, okay, let me just pitch my tent on the 10 female entrepreneurs that I interviewed for my studies. These people, they were in real estate, construction, and I'm talking about women now, okay? Construction, financial, the financial arena. But these women were relentless. These women, they stop at nothing to get to what they want. And these women knew how to save. And that's one thing I could say about these when it comes to financial literacy with these 10 women that I interviewed for my studies. Can you believe, Leroy? Out of 10, 8 out of 10 started their own business with their own money. Didn't have to borrow. And by the way, my population was immigrant women. It was specifically for immigrant women, you know, and they were able to start their businesses without borrowing. They saved their money. And so that's why I'm like so big on financial literacy. But what I've seen it all. I've seen a couple of things, you know, different scenarios when it comes to women and entrepreneurship. There are women, of course, who really and truly desire to learn the ropes of entrepreneurship. And then there are some that just come to a conference just to say that they have attended the conference.
Right.
Now, see, folks like those, it's going to be a hard road to success because you cannot just show up and then go home and then that's it. You got to show up great, show up with intention. And what is showing up great and showing up with intention? You come with a business card. And if you don't have a business card, you come with your pen and your paper to write people's information down. You network, you come and you strike up conversations with the people around you. You listen to what the speaker in their topic, whatever they're talking about, what they're saying, and you go back and you implement these things. Because see, it's one thing to show up at these conferences every week, but if you're going home and you're not implementing anything, you're not taking action, then it's going to be pointless. But then you have some people, they go to these conferences and they take copious notes and they put their plan into action. And so they are very successful. And one of the things that I know for sure about the Women's Entrepreneur Expo is that it builds lasting relationship. I mean, not just relationship, because pretty much it's a great networking event. So people meet, they connect on social media, they've hosted, collaborate on certain things, but it's the lasting relationship. And, sometimes you attend these events, Leroy, at least when we were able to be out there like that. You may not feel like you have gained much from the event that day, but it's going to be what you make of it. You got to follow up with folks. You got to follow up is key. You can't just have folks' number written in your phone on their business card. You got to follow up with them, right? And it gives me such joy and pleasure whenever I see two people doing business, collaborating on something, and I met at the WE event. That's amazing, because I was like, yeah, God has used me to put something together that can benefit other people. And I was just thinking, so a good friend of mine called me. She's in the real estate industry, and she met someone at my event maybe about 5 years ago. At the time, the person, she was still working, or government job, whatever. And like maybe about 2 weeks ago, the lady called her and said, I met you at Joan's event and I want to do business with you. And so without sharing too much of the people's business, let's just say they are in business. So see, sometimes things may not happen right there and then, but later on. So it's a matter of how you conduct yourself. People are going to remember you when you go out to network as an entrepreneur. Because that particular person, if she was there not doing what she was supposed to do and not being about business, this lady would not have kept her in her mind for this long, almost 5 years later, to now reach out to you like, yeah, we met at Joan's event and I want to do X, Y, Z. I want to get into business with you and, strike up a business deal. And I've seen that so many times, people make great connections, but, it's one thing to make the connection, but you got to be able to keep them and follow through and follow up. But I tell you, women, we are special. We know how to get things done, especially with entrepreneurship. I mean, it's a lot of stuff out there that we do, anywhere from And it's getting more and more creative by the minute. It's like people just add in services just to, make a better impact to the population that they serve. If they're like one of my persons that attended the expo, she's a beautician, right? Now she's headed body sculpting. And that's all from coming to the events, and she just want to learn more and more what she can put, what kind of services can she had. But see, when you had these services, you want to make sure that they are in alignment with each other. You can, you want to keep them close. So for somebody like that, she's strategizing, because in this, especially in this entrepreneurial world where we have more entrepreneurs now than ever before, like almost everyone, a lot of folks are, leaning towards and grasping the concept of entrepreneurship. So what I would encourage folks to do is, like, you got to think outside the box. You got to first have a positive mindset, because if you don't, it's going to be bad. So have a positive mindset, think outside the box, because with more entrepreneurs, coming on board, your good idea is not going to be that good sooner or later. So you got to continue to grow. You got to continue to follow up. You got to continue to be creative. You got to continue to implement new strategies, because those are all part of leading towards sustainability, because you have the business, but if you're not doing things to sustain that business, then of course you end up with a failed business. So with this climate that we're in, where so many folks are going after entrepreneurship and all that good stuff, we got to make sure that we stay ahead of the game. And it's not a matter of, oh, I got to try to compete and try to beat this person up, beat that person up. But if you want to stay in business, you cannot sit there with your good idea, the one you had 12 years ago. You got to get with, what's going on now, and just follow trends and make sure that you are doing, you're trying to stay in business, because it's not going to happen just because you want it to happen. You got to put in the work to make it happen.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, let me ask you this: how important is it for you, or was it for you, with the businesses that you have, to be able to have an impact and an influence in the community that you are part of, and that they are a part of? How important was that for you, and how do you as an entrepreneur go about making sure that that happens with your businesses?
Okay. Well, my name means everything to me. So whatever I do, whatever I put out there, is going to be top quality. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Okay. So one of the first thing is relationship. Well, I don't know what I say that's the first thing, but that's one of the things. Relationship. You got to build relationship with other folks. You can't single-handedly try to do everything by yourself. You got to build relationships. My grandmama's girl. So again, my grandmother normally said, one hand cannot clap. Try clapping with one hand and you see how well that turned out. So I'm big on collaboration. Partnering with other people to make the event successful, to make your business successful, is key. But before we could get to all that, integrity and honesty must be the center. And I don't know how I didn't say that first, because that's the center of everything that I do. As a matter of fact, that's the tagline for all of my websites: integrity and honesty at every level. If you look at my website, you're going to find that. So you must have, and that is what I had, was integrity and honesty. Then, of course, you have to have the passion and dedication. Because, see, I'm so passionate about the Women's Entrepreneur Expo that even COVID couldn't stop me. I pivoted to an online forum, and I made sure we still had a very successful Women's Entrepreneur Expo. So passion and dedication. It can't be because, well, I did this for 4 years, I'm tired. No. You got to be dedicated to it, because the moment you decide to give up might be that moment when it would have been your biggest breakthrough, either for yourself or for somebody else, right? Then, of course, the good customer service and following up. I'm good at that. I literally follow up with people for every relationship that I form, every friendship. You got to follow up. If you don't follow up, you're going to lose people along the way. So you need to have your integrity, work out of integrity and honesty. You must have that passion, that dedication, and that good customer service and follow up. You can't be mean to people. Now I'm going to say mean, but you can't be mean to people when you feel like, and then in the next breath, you want them to be nice to you and support your stuff. You cannot just not go to people's conference, but when you have in yours, you expect them to be in the room with and invite six other people along with themselves. You got to be willing to support. You know, Leroy, truth be told, I gave more from that expo than I really got for myself.
Mm.
Because it was just me planning this event. At the time, I didn't really, the event that happened once a year, and when I used to do it twice a year, I wouldn't really call that's business per se, because you know, I needed something bigger than that. But even though it was just, the business was just most likely for that twice a year or that once a year, I stayed committed to it, you know? So you got to support. And so when I bring so many people to the stage, so many people have spoken on that platform, and then they, you know, sell from the stage, do whatever they do from the stage and whatever, build their relationships. And so even for the last 12 years, people have definitely, everybody benefit way more than I have from those events. But you know what? It's all good because it helped me to prove myself to be somebody that, you know, one can say she's dedicated, you know, she helps others, because in this world, you cannot be just for yourself. If you're not helping people, then you know, that's just not good, because even the good book tells us that we were blessed to be a blessing. And see, my blessing at the time may not have been like full-blown entrepreneurship, but I was blessed with the knowledge to form that event and to make sure that everything goes smoothly. Getting speakers from out of state some of the time, just advertising, getting people to attend, the vendors. It's a big production. It's a big to do. And as a matter of fact, even the one that I pivoted to the online platform because of COVID, that was a lot of work, because even after the expo, I had an after party with the vendors where they were able to sell from the stage and all that stuff. So yeah, you know, but you have to get creative. You have to be creative. And so those are some of the strategies. Those are some of the tools that I've used to, you know, remain positive and remain in the business front. So now that I have the other two companies, well, one of them started in 2016, the nonprofit, and then you know the we global, the not we, the out in the fields started in 2020. That's a pandemic baby right there.
Now, I want you to talk a little bit about that, because you went from having the we conferences to adding your nonprofit RISA to adding out in the fields now. I want you to talk about those transitions and having expanding your entrepreneur your business into these three businesses, because you go from relatively having the one business to now where you have kind of three different types of businesses. How were you able to navigate that? Can you talk a little bit about that, navigating that course and adding on as an entrepreneur like that?
Okay, so starting out with the Women's Entrepreneur Expo, I believe that was a great idea, because that event, that business allowed me to form and nurture relationships. Because if you do not know how to nurture and form and nurture relationship, it's going to be, the rest of the journey is going to be harder. I'm not going to say impossible, but it's going to be that much harder. So that event, that business has allowed me to develop my networking skills, my relationship building skills. And so when I was able to take it to the nonprofit, RISA, then by then I know I have that customer service. I have that heart to serve, you know, because you got to have that servant leadership mentality when you're in business. So by doing the expo, I learned how to serve, because like I said earlier, most of what I was doing wasn't really for me. I was really serving others, like making sure that, you know, you get your business out there so that you can start a business, putting together people that could teach other women how to start a business. But one thing the two company does have in common is that it's all things women, because the expo, even though I have countless male speakers, male vendors, male attendees, it's actually the Women's Entrepreneur Expo. And then RISA Incorporated is for women and girls. I had to pick a population. With a nonprofit, you can't serve everybody all the time, you know, and be effective with it. You can do it, but it's not going to be that effective. So I chose to pitch my tent with women and girls. So that's how that came about. And, you know, I'm a big advocate for women, and I always want to see women, when you're down, I like to see you up. So to the point where even RISA, the acronym for RISA, well, RISA's name is twofold because the RISA, RESA, that was the last four letters of my grandmother's name. My late grandmother's, her name was Teresa. So when I named the company, because she was the first person to teach me anything about servant leadership, I didn't learn that. I learned some of it in school, but most of that came from her. So the company RISA was named after her using her last four letters of her name. Then the acronym is RISE, Elevate, Soar, Aspire, all things moving up, helping people to move up. So that's how I came about the name. So RISA, we are to pick any woman that is done to pick you up so that you can be great. And Leroy, again, I was just blessed with a servant leadership heart for people. And I'm not just saying that, but you know that because you know me for a long time. To the point where this year I've decided to do something different. I had a different kind of conference, right? Because I know that in the month of March, Women's History Month, that month mostly highlights the movers and shakers, and this one is doing great, and all that stuff. But I ask myself, so if no one highlights the women who are down, how are they ever going to be up to make an impact and to be in the group with the movers and shakers? So I definitely plan a conference specifically that was geared for people who are having, whether it was domestic violence in the church, that was one of the topic, domestic violence in the church, which one? It was just a lot of different topics that was just, not the typical topics where, I had speakers, I had 6 panelists on different stuff, mental health and all that good stuff, so that we can be a beacon of hope for these women who are, not as fortunate as some of us. And then I mess around and was called to host something for the hearing loss community. And I was like, okay, this one is different. What do I do with that? But all I ended up doing was created a platform for the lady. She does suffer hearing loss. She was able to come on the show and plead to the community to kind of, because apparently they weren't being treated as good. The women, they often get neglected because they can't hear. They get ridiculed and all that stuff. So I had her on the platform to really speak about that community, with hope that people who did not understand or was ignorant to what they were going through would somehow start to see them in a different light. So that's just some of the things. Again, so when it comes to all things women, I like to bring it together for women. Now, Out in the Fields is not necessarily for women, the real estate consulting piece, but the sister company on the Out in the Field, the J.H. Fields Financial Enterprise, that is geared towards women, because I will make it my goal to teach women how to set their budget, create financial goals, eliminate debt, spending, get your credit together, all these workshops. So that portion of the company is geared towards women. So I have this long history of creating stuff that always come back to helping women.
No, absolutely. And now y'all see why we had to have Dr. Joan Henry-Fields be a part of What's Up Baltimore Magazine, because of the many great things that she's doing in and through the community. Now I want you to give everybody your contact information. If they could tell us about, we'll start with the Out in the Fields, because that's the ad that we have in the magazine. Just tell us about the products and services that it offers again, but then also how they can connect with you if they want to be able to use those services, and then in addition to the other companies that you have too, if people want to if they want to support RISA, and then how the women can be a part of the WE conference too as well.
Okay. All right. So Out in the Fields, again, it's twofold. So the real estate consulting piece, we are for wholesaling. If you are in Maryland and looking for a company to manage your property or properties, we will be your person. Okay. We offer cleaning for pre-sale and pre-rental properties, Airbnb cleaning, all that stuff falls under our cleaning services. So again, it's property management, wholesaling, and the cleaning services under the real estate consulting piece. Then under the financial empowerment piece, we have where we assist you with goal setting, budgeting, debt elimination, what else? And we also help people to with their retirement goals, and anywhere from retirement planning, stocks, bonds. It's all things financial. So, and put it this way. So, if there is an area and it's something financial that you need that I personally cannot assist you with, anybody that knows Joan, Jamaican Joan, I am connected. So if I cannot personally assist you, I have a ton of people to introduce you to where they may be able to help you. So the bottom line is, if you get in touch with me, great things will happen. I can either help you myself, or I could have you put you in touch with somebody from my network, and they'll be able to help you. So so those are the services with Out in the Fields. As for the Women's Entrepreneur Expo, I have a feeling it's going to be virtual this year again, Leroy, because for
Yeah,
one, everything is not all the way back
exactly.
open, And besides, I had a blast last year
Yeah,
because I had 4 panelists at 4 different times throughout the day. I had a cooking show, I had online vendors. And guess what? For the first time, my event was actually an international event. I had people from
yeah.
London, Jamaica, different part of the Caribbean. They were able to participate. So I'm thinking that even when we do go back to in person, I will have to find a way to have it live stream some way, somehow, to keep people in the loop, because I know I've been advertising this thing for years and people always just hear about the Women's Expo.
Right.
But having the opportunity to participate virtually last
Yeah.
year, people just want to know, oh my God, don't ever change it. Don't ever
Yeah.
change it. We were glad that we were able to participate. So yeah, so that's coming up. That's going to be in December of this year. That will be announced, later on in the year. And so for the RISA Incorporated, see, that's what happened when you have multiple business. You got to think to make sure you're talking about the right business, right? So the RISA Incorporated. Now, I mentioned earlier that we're going to be doing a community day at the First Baptist Church of Capitol Heights. Now, Leroy, if your viewers could do anything for RISA, what I would like for them to do, I have a program that we just launched this month, and it's called the Right Now program. What is the Right Now program? One might ask. Let me tell you. So the Right Now program is for women and girls who may be fleeing a domestic violence situation, a sexual violence situation. They may get a fire overnight, and they and their children need a place to stay. So the Right Now program, there are shelters out there that these women can check into, yes, but it depending on the time of the night, and it depending on that shelter's rule, you may have to sit there to do an intake. Now, you could lose your life in the process. By the time you sit there to try to do an intake, that's why it's called Right Now. So those funds will be used to fund an overnight stay at a hotel. You call us, we pay for it with a credit card. You get sent to an hotel that we have, we have several partnerships, relationships with hotels. And you get up and you get there, and from there you could sit there and you could call a family member, call a friend, whatever you need to do at that point. Call a shelter. But you need to be in a safe space to be doing all that, not sitting there possibly, losing
Right.
with your life dangling in front of you. So that's what the Right Now program is about, to help you with a overnight hotel stay. You may not have a vehicle. So we assist with transportation, Uber, train, bus. You may need to go out of state to your family or friend or whatever it is. So it's mostly transportation and shelter. Because you see, Leroy, I'm a woman of action, and I'm sure you know that. Now, I don't have a shelter, transitional house where to say, okay, come on down to Risa's transitional house. But I'm not letting that stopping me from being a support system for someone, again, who might find themselves in those situations that could be deadly. So yes, I don't have a transitional home, but then I provide transitional home in my own way. You can get to a safe place, so we provide the money for you to get there, transportation, and the overnight stay. So those are some of the things that we plan to do with the Right Now fund. So if folks would like to donate to that, that would be much appreciated. And our cash app for RISA is the $ RISA Inc. RESA Inc. RISA Inc. $Risa Inc. If you would like to contribute to that. And as far as Out in the Fields, if you go to Out in the Fields, it's all one word, outinthefieldslllc.com. You know, that www.outinthefieldslllc.com. And from there, you can contact me. My email is on there. My phone number is on there. We have where you can send like little instant messages on there. So it's a lot of ways to get in touch with me on that website. Again, it's www.outinthefieldslllc.com. And on Facebook, it's Dr. Joan Henry-Fields. And on Instagram, it's Out in the Fields LLC. And I would also like to invite your viewers, Leroy, to connect with me in the We Global community. And the We Global community is a replacement for what I used to do pre-COVID, the once a month in-person networking. So when COVID decided to take over, I had to pivot to an online platform. So now we do online networking. And so that group is all things business in that group. And within, it's not even a year yet, and I was able to I now have over 1,200, members in the group. And so for that group, people can post their upcoming events, post their products, post their website, because it's a place for networking. It's a place for business. And, that's my business page. And I do share, other people's stuff. Now, of course, because you don't want people to just post any and anything on your page, when you post, it's going to let you know that I would need to approve it. Of course, once I look at it and see that it is something that is, that makes sense, and it's, in a decent format, and there's no cussing or nothing like that, then all I have to do is to click accept, and it will be on the page. And that page gets a lot of views, way more than my page that has 5,000 people. That We Global community, it's an amazing community. So yes, your viewers will definitely, they can definitely join the group so that I can help them to support their business as well. Everybody inside of the magazine, Leroy, I'm putting this out there for my Influential Thursday. Get in touch with me. If you are a business owner, that's why you're in this magazine. I have this program, Influential Thursday, that used to be on Blog Talk Radio for the last 4 years. That's been on Facebook. So, I was ahead of the pandemic. So I was already using online platforms. So yes, connect with me if you would like to be a guest on Influential Thursday to showcase your business. So that's an added bonus for you being in the magazine. I am personally inviting you to get in touch with me so that you can be a part of Influential Thursday to even talk more about your business in front of, I live stream on 2 Facebook pages and YouTube. So that's more exposure for you along with what you have put in the magazine. So don't be ashamed to ask. Don't be afraid to ask. Reach out to Jamaican Joan. I got you covered. So yes, reach out to me, and I'll definitely make sure that you get a spotlight on Influential Thursday. Please feel free to share also in the We Global community, because Mr. Leroy and I, we go way back. It's a good person, and whatever he's involved with, I don't question it. If you're in his magazine, that's good enough for me. I don't need to know anything else. If he said you're fine, I trust him. I believe him. I know his work ethic. So no questions asked. You will be able to share my platform as well for extra exposure to your business.
And that's awesome, and I appreciate you, Joan, for saying that, for doing that, and for offering the other business owners that are in the current issue of What's Up Baltimore magazine. As y'all can see, I'll just show y'all just a little bit. I ain't gonna give y'all all of it, because y'all need to go out and subscribe to it. I mean, I am just blown away by just this is serious, y'all. We not playing. I mean, the articles that we have in here, the businesses that we have in here, these are some of the people that we wanted to be able to bring to you as a whole with What's Up Baltimore, because of just how powerful we wanted to show that Baltimore and the surrounding area, because as y'all know, Joan, you know too, the negative narrative that is given to Baltimore and this area around here. Well, that was why we started What's Up Baltimore, was to shine a light on individuals who are doing great and phenomenal things, such as yourself, that are in the community, that people might not readily hear or see about, but because of this, because of the platforms that we try to put businesses and the individuals that we have in the articles in here, we give them this platform to shine the light on them. And that's, I mean, with any of the projects that I've done, was, hey, I want to talk about the people that everybody else is not talking about, because the everyday ordinary entrepreneur, the everyday ordinary person that's in the community like you are with your racer and without in the fields, people aren't readily talking about that. These are the businesses that people need to know about, because there are plenty of people that I know that can use out in the fields, that need to have that have that kind of work that they're looking for. Or the other aspect of it, the financial empowerment. You said we're not using the financial literacy, we're using financial empowerment. The financial empowerment piece, where our communities become educated on how money works. I've always been fascinated by that. Money has always fascinated me. Just understanding how it works, because it's more than just using money here, paying for your rent there, but what affects you going to the store. And I don't know if people have noticed, but when you go to the store now, prices of things have gone up. Why have why have they gone up? Because of the pandemic and the things that have affected that. And when the travel industry opens back up, you're going to see that as well. Airplane tickets aren't going to be, real low. They're going to be high when it comes to, just because of the things that have happened. And that's part of what money, how money works, understanding about that, so that when you're sitting down doing your budget, when you're sitting around talking about, how much money you have to spend for certain things, or certain things that you want to do, you want to be able to travel, which everybody seems to be doing right now. And I don't understand that. I don't know what's going on
Mm.
with that. I'm like, I ain't going nowhere.
I love Jamaica to death, and you're not gonna see me on a plane anytime soon.
I'm like, no, not at
Yeah.
all, not at all. It's gonna be a minute. So,
Yes.
but understanding all of those things, and like you said too, Joan, and I think you said your grandmother said it, but relationships are resources. And I watched this documentary called The Black Godfather, and he said that very same thing. He said relationships are resources. So as an entrepreneur, you build those relationships, because if you can't do it, like you said, Joan, you can't offer everything to everybody. But what you can do is be connected to other businesses that do offer those particular products and services that are connected to what the people that will come to you will need, and everything like that. So,
And
uh,
and you're right, because like, in as much as I'm talking about the financial aspect of what I do, I don't know anything about taxes. So
hmm
if
hmm
you,
right,
if you need, business taxes, and all, I can't find the taxes. I don't know anything about that. So I would have to connect you with one of my sources for that, and that still has to do with finances. But that doesn't mean that I do all things finances.
right,
So you have to collaborate with other people. That's the point I'm trying to
yep.
drive you. Collaborate with other people to make it happen. Okay. And so I'm not sure that I mentioned this. I think I did earlier, that my company also, we offer loans for business startup. And if you go to my on my Out in the Fields website, there's a tab that says financial, where folks can click on it to fill out the pre-qualification if they're looking
Mhm.
for funds to start their business or expand their business. It's anywhere between 10 to $400,000. It's an unsecured loan, meaning that you ain't got to put up your house or your car, but you do require to have a certain credit score and minimum minimum income. So all that information is on the website where folks can click. But if you would just allow me 1 second to introduce my book to your audience.
Oh yeah.
That's
Oh, okay.
that's the new book that was just released, The Power of Financial Knowledge and Confidence. So see, I have the book to go with. What am I doing? Okay. Oh man, yeah. So I have the book to go with, what with my services. And inside this book, Leroy, it talks about financial security. It has a sample budget sheet. It talks about tips on savings. It touched on identity theft. It talked about teaching your children about how to save money. And it even talked about financial knowledge before you say I do. Because I just found out that money is messing up some marriages around here. So,
Woo! I tell you,
so that's in the
this
book too.
pandemic has really taught
Yeah.
people something about themselves and the folks that they married to. I'm telling,
Mhm.
and I don't know if you saw this real quick, but Bill Gates and his wife are divorcing.
I did not.
They are, after 30 years, they are getting a divorce. And remember, what was it last year? Jeff Bezos and his wife
Yeah.
got divorced. So people got to understand that just because you have money does not mean that you are it eliminates you from having issues or problems and stuff like that. Money doesn't solve all your problems,
Nope.
but
And
that's
money come
serious.
with having a conversation because if you did not, it's a conversation, regardless what the conversation is
Yeah,
gonna be. You gotta have some kind of conversation. So if we divorce, what would things look like for me financially?
right.
Well, this, how that you gotta have that kind of conversation because nothing is promising. So that's one of the big pieces in the book before, financial knowledge before you say I do. Because a lot of times folks may think that once you get married, you could change that person. You can't change anyone. So you
Yep.
got to know what you're getting into from the get go. Before I got married, we had that conversation, me and my husband, like, okay, so what's going on
Ab-
here? You want to
Yep.
find out what kind of debt they come into you with
Right.
because you don't want to, next thing your checks start to get garnished for something you don't know anything about.
Yeah.
So you want to know what their financial life look like. What is your credit score? What's going on?
Right.
And one thing I know that I stress even in this book is that whoever is reading it, let it be male or female, and you having that conversation with your spouse about money. If that, if your spouse does not really understand how money works, that's not
Hmm.
a moment for you to down your significant other, to talk down to them, to make them feel simple. All this got to be communicated with love.
Right.
You
Right.
cannot, when you talk about money with your significant other or anybody for that matter, even a child, you got to talk to them with money about love. And you got to teach people. So this topic, when it comes to financial literacy, is the never ending
Yeah.
topic because
Absolutely.
there's so much to cover. It's like it's just a lot out there. But I just urge people to just tap into whatever sources, get a book, attend a conference, anything that you need to do to make sure that you have the financial knowledge that you need in order to be successful. Because even though I know that I'm talking about financial here, but to be an entrepreneur, you got to understand your money.
Right.
If you don't
Right.
understand how money works, you may make money, but you're not going to save money.
Right.
Simple things like you got to have the know-how, the knowledge of savings, first of all, making sure your business account is not tied in with your personal account, how to save, how to keep track of your expenses and all that stuff. So financial literacy is important across all platforms, whether it's just your personal life, your business life. It is just one of those topics that you cannot have any conversation without that because it's married to everything else that we do. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
So, Joan, I want to thank you for joining us and talking about the your business and everything that you're doing, the current issue of What's Up Baltimore Magazine. And before we go, I want to bring back on, and I hope she's there, but you want to come back on, Charlene, Miss Lady J. I want to get you in here before we sign off, to see if you have any questions, or then to kind of get your take on on the conversation and everything like that before we sign off too.
Oh yeah.
So before we sign off, Lady J, let me just first thank you for having me also on the show.
Mhm.
And I'm very honored to be in the magazine. So let me just not forget to say that. Thank you
Awesome,
so
awesome,
much.
awesome. And yeah, and thank you for being in the magazine. Thank you for gracing the magazine with your presence as well, and with all the knowledge that you're sharing with us tonight. I gotta get that book. I gotta check that book out. And but yeah, thank you so much. And we appreciate everybody who is just saying yes, to being in the magazine, because it's really about our people and it's talking about our accomplishments. And I keep saying the magazine is about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. That's what it's all about. And so, Leroy, thank you so much as well, for all the work that you're putting in. And I just only see this getting bigger and better. I think every time the magazine comes out, we're both like, "Oh, this one is good. This is a good one."
Absolutely.
So and shout out to my son, because he does the whole entire graphic designing and all of that. So shout out to him. And so it's just really been a really good venture. That's our February Black History edition, with the mayor on the cover. Had a chance to interview him. So but thank you so much for coming on. And we look forward to having you on again for some other stuff.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure hanging with you guys here
Yeah,
today.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
Absolutely. So, Lady J, I'm gonna let you sign us off.
Okay,
Okay. You
all
wanna
right,
check the people?
all
Okay.
right.
You wanna tell the people one where they can go get the magazine, how they can subscribe, and then I'm gonna let you close
Yes,
it out.
yes. Actually, everyone, for people who are watching us, you can actually, if you go to ladyjmedia.com, and I'm actually going to put this up so you're able to see it. But if you go to ladyjmedia.com, you'll be able to subscribe to the magazine. Now, what I want to say about the magazine is that they are going fast. I think, Leroy, you picked them up on Friday, right? This past Friday?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Last week.
Um,
Yep.
and mine are gone. So, people are just buying them up, not one at a time, but I had people buying like 5 or 10 at one time. So, you want to make sure that if you cannot get the magazine, at least make sure you can go to the website, which is ladyjmedia.com, because if you go on there, you'll be able to actually subscribe to the magazine. And it's cheaper, it's $4.99. And you'll be able to see the magazine as much as you want. You can, send it to your friends or however you want to do it. But that's a great way. But there are people who want that physical magazine in their hand. So, definitely, if you want to get the magazine, you can actually contact me. I'm trying to find it on here. You can actually contact me, and my number is 443-297-4753. When you call me, you can either leave a message or let me know you want to get the magazine. We will mail it out to you. The magazine itself is $10, and it's worth every bit of the $10, y'all. It's worth every bit of the $10. And so, and Leroy, I just found out someone else is doing a magazine and they charge $20.
Yeah.
So, I,
hmm
I didn't even realize. Listen, I guess I must really be back in the day, because I did not even realize that they cost that much. But yeah, so we're selling them for $10. And again, this is about, think about it as you're getting it, that it's really about supporting a black business. It's also supporting women like this sister right here, supporting what she's doing, all that she's doing, her book. And the great thing about it is that we call it What Up Baltimore, but you don't have to live in Baltimore. You don't have to live in Baltimore. And so that's the great thing about it. But definitely go to the website, ladyjmedia.com, and you will be able to, like I said, subscribe. If you want to purchase the magazine, again, 443-297, here it is right here, four four three
Ah,
two
there
nine
you go.
seven 4753, and you'll be able to talk to me, or you can text me, and I will mail the magazine out to you, however many you want. We'll get them mailed out to you. I just put in another order today because we don't have any more and people are still asking for them. So we got another order that'll be coming out in a couple of days. But make sure you get your hands on this magazine. It's all beautiful, gifted African American women in the magazine. And so, and also, if you would like to have a show on this station, which is Lady J Media, Again, you can contact me on that number. Uh, that's on the screen. I don't think I have the number up there, but the number is 443-297-4753. Let me put this one up. This will show you the phone number where you can actually reach me. And if you would like to do a show, this show is designed to help African American men and women, young people. Just got a young group of young men that are going to have their show starting, some teenagers. So it's designed to help you have your own show at an affordable price. You will not believe the prices. You'll probably look at me twice, but you will have the opportunity to have your own show. And like I tell people, the only way you won't have a show is because you really don't want to have a show. But I do everything I can to make sure that you have your own show, and that's what this platform is about. It's about team building, and we also go out and we work in the community. So you all, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And again, thank you to our lovely guests. Thank you to Leroy McKenzie. I hope everybody has a great and wonderful night. I don't know if you're a mother or not, but if you are, happy Mother's Day.
I
Um,
am.
you are, happy Mother's Day,
Thank you.
because that's about to come up. And enjoy yourself. Everybody have a good night. This is What Up Baltimore Online Radio. I'm Lady J, and that's this good man down here.
Leroy McKenzie Jr., the
Yes,
impact builder.
yes, yes. All right, everybody. Good night.
All
Have a
right. Good
good night,
night.
everybody. Thanks
Bye
again,
bye.
Joan.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right.